want us to come in and look at the entire building and say, everything that's happening here, how can you make it more efficient? What are ways that we can be doing a better job here? And so I think that takes on a much bigger scope and a higher level of technical accuracy to be able to do something like that.
Hello and welcome. My name is Robert Schmidt. I am Deloitte's Chief Futurist, also known as Mr. IoT. Today, my guest is Leila Dillon from Ameresco. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
It's great to have you. You are the VP of Marketing and Communications of an energy solutions company.
Yes.
Can you just tell us a little bit about you and your company? Because I'm sure you're going to do a way better job than I could.
I don't know. Maybe you could, but we'll see. Sure, I'm a technology person. I have been in technology now for, I'd say, 20 plus years. We'll just say plus. And very much love being in technology space, especially right now, because so many things are changing and the dynamics of these changes have really made it just feasible for us to do different things and really do transformative changes for our customers. So Ameresco, as you said, is an energy solutions company, and we very much focus on all things energy. So we have a whole portfolio of technologies that we integrate and implement. And we always start in ground zero, which is how can we help our customers become as efficient as possible? How can we focus on efficiencies and drive the most efficient usage of all of their energy mechanisms? So that often means that we're doing upgrades to pieces of infrastructure and things like that. But what we find ourselves doing more and more is also looking at the supply side of energy. And now that we've become as efficient as possible, how can we also generate the amount of energy that is needed to sort of help during some of those peak times? So it's really a business that focuses not only on the efficiency side, but also on the renewable energy and the supply side of how can we also generate energy or help our customers generate what's needed in order to run their businesses or their towns or their agencies or their campuses.
So I have to say I'm sitting here smirking because, you know, I live in California and but I don't know how many millions of households are down right now. I was around the last time and it sort of really started me to rethink what do I do around energy. Are you working mostly with commercial or are you working with, where do you fit in that whole picture?
So fantastic question. The wildfire situation is something that has hit us deeply, especially through our customers. So, you know, we work with all different market sectors. I'd say municipal, the federal government, higher ed, K-12, and then CNI, and commercial and industrial. I just finished a session with two of our customers up there on that session. One was from a healthcare agency running 1,800 hospitals in throughout England, and then the other was with West Texas A&M University on some efficiency projects that we've done there. But what we're seeing, especially with what you talked about in California with the wildfire situation, is that that's really fostering a growth of another part of our business, which is distributed generation. And that is when the power companies decide to shut off, right? How can we help our customers?
I'm gonna really try to keep my face not showing, okay?
So we're seeing a tremendous growth in terms of when some of these disasters happen, whether it be the wildfires you're seeing in California, or whether it's the hurricanes that took out Puerto Rico, or the Bahamas most recently, how can we help those communities be more resilient and bounce back more quickly by creating sort of miniature distributed energy generation so that they can continue to run?
I have to say I sit here and I struggle with this distributed versus centralized power generation. I mean, I grew up in Austria. It's sort of like, you know, power is like you turn on the water and water comes out of the hose, out of the bib, right? And that's how I feel about power. And now I'm in California and I'm kind of like, am I responsible for it? Who is responsible for it? Is that something you find yourself as a company in to support both sides? I don't know. I know it's a geopolitical problem, but I kind of wonder what your thoughts are on that.
I guess I would answer that one to say, I think we're all responsible, right? We're all responsible for power, and we know what the energy consumption does to the universe. So really, it's about how can we do more with less? How can we do good? And how can we help our customers get more out of the infrastructure they have and the energy that they need? And so, I don't think it's any one group's responsibility. I think it's every one of us that's on this planet, and it's not only from a personal side, but also from a corporate side, from a municipal side, from an agency side. We all need to be responsible for what happens and how we can do better for the universe.
One of the things that I talk about the human factor of IoT, and I have this belief that there's a lot we learn through sensors that actually helps us socially and has human impacts. And energy, in my mind, is one of them. If I run my own solar panels, I know this from living on a boat actually for a while, you suddenly look at power very differently. You start using power differently, and I'm sure you are seeing that too. My question for you is, are you seeing patterns that you can then reuse in other places from an analytics point of view? Are you learning through usage how to help other places and so forth? What does analytics do for you, I guess?
No, that's a great question. And it's really transformed our business, to be honest with you, because imagine the controls that are now in place. If we do a building modernization project where we come in and we upgrade all the infrastructure, make that building as efficient as it possibly can be, part of that is IoT, right? Part of that is putting in controls and sensors that sense when the people are entering the building, that tell us when to turn the lights on, or when to make that building a little warmer or a little cooler. An example that I just chatted about in a previous discussion was one of the court buildings that we do, right? We have those so connected that we can schedule sort of when to warm up the rooms, when to cool down the rooms, and when to know that there are more people versus less people in there. So, IoT's impact on the energy industry has been tremendous. It has enabled us to be that much smarter, that much better, and to use the analytics that we're capturing to deliver a more efficient project, essentially.
When you talk about it has shifted what you do and how you work, has it shifted your talent inside your company as well? And in what ways?
Yes and yes, quite a bit. Part of the thing that I think makes Ameresco a little bit different is we really want to be all things to our customer. So we don't want to just tell them what they need to do and then have them go find a way to do it. We want to be all parts. So we want to come in and really audit and look at their environment and what makes them tick, what are their goals, and then map out a program to do that. And oftentimes efficiency comes in 10, 20 different measures of things that we can do. But I think at the end of the day, we're looking at how the technologies have really changed that and how they've really given birth to a deeper level of expertise that's required within our own company. So we're highly what's the right word? We have a tremendous amount of engineering talent in our company that we will not outsource. We need that to be part of our overall offering. And we work really hard to always think about what are the next technologies that are coming down the pike and how do we make sure we staff accordingly so that not only can we talk about what they can do, but we can actually implement them. So we're sort of all phases of the project, from the initial audit to the design, the development, the implementation, the analysis, and oftentimes the ongoing operations and maintenance of those assets and how they're working. And we have to make sure that we have the proper engineering talent that is up to date on the latest technologies that are out there so that we're driving those efficiencies throughout our projects.
So lots of engineering, lots of IP through that engineering that you keep, and then actually giving people the full life cycle is sort of your mantra behind that. That's very fascinating.
You know, a lot of what we do, it comes in all different models, but one is an energy savings performance contract. So we will work with the customer, understanding what they're looking to do, what the savings that they are trying to generate, and we will map out a path for that. And then we will remove all risk and guarantee that they will get that savings, and that we're actually compensated based off of that. So
you're an energy company at the end of the day, in a way?
We are an energy
Not just
solutions.
an energy solutions provider, but actually, if I outsource my energy consumption to you, you become my energy company.
We can do all facets of it. There's no question. And I think what's also changed is sort of the customer's expectations as technology has changed. We have some massive comprehensive projects. I think Paris Island is a good example back in the States. It's a Marine base. They train over 20,000 Marines every year, and they cannot have grid outages there, right? Because they need to get these people through their training and get them launched back out there. And so a big facet of that project was around resiliency. They wanted not only to be as efficient as possible, but they also wanted to be able to be resilient over time. And so we were able to work with them on putting this whole efficiency and generation project together with that sort of long lens of we're sure to use the most recent, the most updated technologies to have this long-term lens of what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But one of the neat parts also about that project, and why I bring it up, I'm getting there, I promise, is that they wanted us to continue on and operate and maintain that project. Why? Because we have some of the most advanced technologies generating the savings and generating the energy needed for that particular base. And therefore, we can optimize it day 1, day 300, year 4, what have you, because we're sort of staying on to make sure that it's doing everything that it was sought out to do.
I was gonna say, can you come to California and take that over? But no, we might have to cut that.
We have offices in California. We do a lot of work in California with all different market sectors.
So I'm curious. I am an operator of large facilities, whatever that may be. And I don't have any of this. I just pay my bill every month. And then you come in and I have outages and so forth. And then I ask you to come in. How long does it take from start to finish, about from where you come in until you take it over?
Sure.
Are we talking a month? Are we talking 5 years? What's sort of like, I know it's not a month.
Well,
but
geez, I wish a month was the case. But the reality of it is it's not. You know, these are fairly complex projects that take time. They take the audit time. We need to have infrastructure as part of it. So, you know, sometimes we're lucky with 6 to 9 months, but that's very aggressive. Usually we say, 12 to 36 months, depending on how comprehensive. If we're going in and modernizing a building, that can happen from beginning to end in a year. And that's lighting, the heaters, the chillers, airflow, you name it. We can do all of that in a relatively short period of time. If we're building power on site and have a battery storage component and a microgrid component, which we do a lot of these, that takes longer. And it takes longer again to properly audit for the efficiency side, and then to create the plan and the path for the distributed energy generation, and then work that through all of the cycles that takes. So on average, I'd say 12 to 36 months. Sometimes we get lucky with a little bit more quickly than that, but I think that's a fair average to share.
I have to tell you, I'm impressed that you gave me an average. I was thinking you're gonna give me the well, that depends kind of answer, the consulting answer, but thank you. So I want to ask one last question on technology, and then I want to shift. But one of the things I'm curious about is that for me, two things really. One, originally thought that IoT is really going to be big through building management systems and so forth. And to be honest, I really haven't seen much. And what I'm hearing from you is you're really shifting this from building management to full energy solutions where you take it on. Is this what we're going to see more of?
I think so. You know, the reality of it is all of our customers are different, and they all like to, we essentially want to do what works best for our customers. But we are seeing our projects grow quite a bit in scope. And we are, in fact, the two customers that we have here at the show talking about the projects that they've done, they are very comprehensive projects. And it's because they're looking at it through a much more holistic lens, right? They're not looking at having us come in and just change the lights out, you know, with LED technology. They want us to come in and look at the entire building and say, everything that's happening here, how can you make it more efficient? What are ways that we can be doing a better job here? And so I think that takes on a much bigger scope and a higher level of technical accuracy to be able to do something like that. And so our portfolio of projects and our backlog of awarded projects and things like that is definitely these more complex projects that have more components to them, that aren't only looking at one aspect of technology, but instead are looking holistically at both energy consumption and energy supply, and how they can do a better job being, you know, solving for both of those.
How much does the consumerization impact you? Or let me phrase it more, maybe more edgy. Can't I just go and buy a bunch of nests and mount them on the wall? Or why can't I?
Yes and yes. I mean, of course you can. And I would say we really are more of a B2B company. We do some solar implementations for consumers and things like that for end consumers, but for the most part, it is, you know, really on the business side. We're working with facility managers. We're working with, you know, CIOs and CTOs on thinking about sort of big picture how we can make an impact in their environment. So at the end of the day, we're all consumers, right? And we're all looking at ways that we can do better. So it certainly does impact that. But I think sort of our core focus is on the business side of it. How can we make businesses more effective and efficient? And that might be municipal governments, that might be federal governments, colleges, universities, manufacturing companies. How can we help them?
Is the consumer technology driving you in some form of fashion, or not really?
I think in some way, yes, because I think consumers are eager and hungry for innovation. And so I think that drives some of the interest, and then adoption comes out of proof points, right? When you're actually, especially when you talk about IoT, you know, if we reverse back 5 years ago when we first started talking about IoT, there were so many neat technologies out there. Very few had been implemented and were actually showing measurable results. So fast forward today, we're in a whole different paradigm, right? Now we have technologies that are out in the market that are showing results. And I think it starts with consumers, you know, being excited about them and what they can do, and then taking it to the next stage when we can really use data and analytics that support the success of these technologies in play.
That's awesome, thank you.
Sure.
I'd like to switch to, I have two questions and they're totally on a different track. Are you good for that?
Sure, let's see.
The first one, I got introduced to you by Helena. I think you and Helena know each other from something, I believe it's Women in Tech.
Yes.
How can we get more women into tech? What can I do?
Oh my gosh, I love that question. I'm so glad you asked it. You know, I tell you what, I think the more we talk about it and more we engage with women, I would say this has been a personal mantra for me forever. Imagine, again, 20 years ago, coming out of college and jumping right in the technology space. And I was one woman of a room full, an office full of men. And boy, has the paradigm shifted, slowly but surely. I wish it would have changed faster, but I'm still pleased with the progress that has happened and what I've seen in my personal life being in the tech space. Now we're at giant conferences like this, and we have a half day dedicated to women and diversity in IoT. And let me tell you, those sessions will be well attended because we have so many smart, engaged, wonderful women that are embracing technology from a much earlier stage than I did, for sure, and that are out making a difference in our markets. So in our own company, Ameresco alone, we have women that are at the very top level running what we do and where we do it and in some of our business units. So I want to see more of that. I want to see more and more women stepping up and having an opportunity to be on executive panels, to be in boards, to do that kind of thing. And so hopefully working with Helena, I'm very fortunate to work with Helena. Last year at this conference, we launched the topic of women in IoT and what does that look like. And we had a packed room, 1 hour packed with women and men interested in this topic. And so fortunately this year, we got a half day. And so imagine what we can talk about. We're talking about women on boards, we're talking about diversity, we're talking about navigating the executive ladder in big companies. How do you do that? And so I hope that by talking about this and by raising visibility and awareness to what women are doing in technology, that will just organically help that market grow and organically show us more and more women sitting in these positions, helping define the strategy for tech companies as we move forward. Helena is a perfect example of just unbelievable excellence in that, and hopefully we can, pave the path for more women.
Well, I was super excited to have Helena on the panel today and have you here today. I guess I just want to ask it maybe differently. How can I be an ally in that?
Great.
What's the thing I can do?
Your original question.
No, it's great.
Sorry. All right, I like to talk about it. I think the big thing is to continue to support and promote women and to give women a voice. I think it is by nature of who women are, we're excellent communicators and we're also excellent multitaskers. And to give women a place to showcase that expertise and really see how impactful that can be when setting strategy. So I think I would challenge everyone, women, men, you name it, in leadership positions, is to make sure that we are, equally giving women exactly their position and to be open to different perspectives, different problem-solving techniques that women bring to the table that truly can be transformative. I'm extremely fortunate at Ameresco that we have a very, forward-thinking management team that are huge believers in women in technology. And we support it, not only in leadership, but also in a lot of the programs that we support through co-ops and things like that. So whether you're in leadership and you're making sure that you're giving women that role, that seat, or whether you're recruiting out from our youngest generations, I would just encourage everyone, women and men, to open that door and make that possible and be willing to experience different ways of doing things that might provide even deeper value.
Well, thank you for your thoughts on that. I appreciate it. I'm happy you're here, and I'm glad that I got you to talk with me. And if I ever forget, you have the endless invitation to call me and say, Robert, please invite a woman.
Oh, great. I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
and
much.
I appreciate Helena making the introduction.
Oh, it's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we have another Coffee with Mr. IoT coming to an end. If you missed any of this show or any of the previous shows, please check out our playlist by searching on YouTube for Coffee with Mr. IoT. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.